Hey guys, this is another Who to Summon video, and this time around, we actually have something very unusual. And they straight up told us every single hero that's going to be reruns up until July the 17th. So this is amazing, guys. So we can actually make a Who to Summon video right when we have the new hero up. So let's give it a try. It's not going to look as clean as it usually does, because we don't have every single freaking hero right here to actually summon. I can show you like this. But we're going to try it. I'm going to recommend you every single one of these. Don't worry. Don't worry. So we do have Arthur, Renosuk, and Z on all that. So I'm going to explain every single one of these, plus the ones that are actually available right now. This is going to be also my first impressions of this guy as well. So that's going to be interesting. I've never done all this in single one. And I don't know if this is going to be short or not, but let's talk about good old Arthur. Arthur, oh my god. He is one of my top 10 most impactful heroes, I think 2023 and 2024. So yeah, and it is for a very good reason. This guy has been battle tested ever since he was released. Everyone agrees that this guy is an absolute monster. And the best thing is that he doesn't have to be like +5 to be a freaking monster. If he's +1, he changes your yellow game like crazy. All of your heroes become a lot stronger. He has the actual prison ability. He changes colors from the enemy to purple. It's freaking amazing, and he does damage over. It's a lot of things to love about him. And the thing is that he is one of the two main pieces of the yellow defense team. So it's pretty much Raphael at least is +1 and Arthur at +5. Why do I say +5? Because the thing is that the +5 is going to actually protect your team. In this case, where is it? Where is it? It's enter restore mana, raises King's shield, reduces skill damage by 30%. Here we go. So that's 30% for that. And then 30% from the +1 of Raphael. So both of them together, that's going to give protection by 60% to your entire team of skill damage. So by having that, most players are in war and things like that. I'm going to try to give you stats, because without stats, 60% skill damage prevention is incredibly powerful. And makes yellow defense teams very viable, because both of them are able, with both of them together, you're able to do a very powerful defense team that is not going to die easily. So if you have Arthur +5 and Raphael at +1, you'll be able to do a mono yellow team. And if your main color is yellow, yeah, Arthur is a very, very, very powerful addition to that. Now, we do have another yellow available, and it's Renosuk. Renosuk, for a very long time, he was the only immortal killer available for yellow. And the bad thing about that is that you had to have him at +5 to be able to do that. However, with the new hero, which, by the way, I use her from time to time, Aurelion, she actually does a better job at actually immortal killing at the very same time. And also, she has a lot of good bells and whistles. So that doesn't mean that Renosuk is not useful, but you have to have him +5 for him to be an immortal killer, and he does not ignore the immunity to death. So in other words, if the enemy becomes immortal, he won't be able to kill him, while Aurelia is able to do that. So that's a really downside for Renosuk. He is pretty amazing with the actual dispelling and doing damage every single turn. So if you already have Renosuk, you plan to have a good attack hero, Renosuk is a good addition on your yellow team for sure. Especially with his passive damage, it's really freaking powerful in that case. So I would say that having him at least at +1 would be very useful in that case. This +3 is really freaking powerful too. But if you plan to get Renosuk, try to get him a +1. And the main reason why you're going to get Renosuk is for him to actually become an immortal killer, and you need to have the +5 for sure in that case. But if you plan to get Renosuk, +1 is good in that case. So yeah, he's a decent hero for sure. Decent hero. Now, let's talk about this absolute monster of a hero, which is Z. Z, I've been saying Z is freaking amazing. He's like crazy. He gives pretty much double HP to all your team with his realm, and also he creates stones. He revives your heroes. It's a lot of things to love about this guy, and the main thing that I love most about this guy is when you get him to plus freaking 5, your heroes become immune to debuffs, all of them, if you have the realm up for him. So that if your main color is green, this will change your game, especially if we're fighting against enemy bubbles. If you have the realm up and there's not a Naya or anything that causing problems, this will make bubble like useless, completely useless in that case. So, and many other situations like fighting versus Zanya won't be able to suck your mana every single turn like she usually does, because that is a debuff and you can't get debuffs in that situation. So yeah, this guy is super powerful. However, the sweet spot for him is the +1 for sure, because him at +0 is so freaking difficult to play. I do not recommend it. If you plan to get Z, you need to get his +1. That is freaking required. If you don't have him at +1, you're not gonna use him. Let's be serious. The only by the way, Z was also one of my top 10 most impactful heroes. I think of 2024. Yeah, it has to be 2024. The weakness that Z has is that he is a slow hero. So there are situations that you're going to feel like Z is going to be behind from your other green heroes, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to do his job. He does do his job. He's very powerful. Highly recommend. Then make sure to have heroes on your team that gives mana or creates enough stones to power him, because when that happens, it is game over. And if you plan to do a mono yellow team or most of the heroes, green team, most of the heroes on your team being green or a mono green team on defense, Z is required for you to do that. So main color is green. You have to get Z. You have to get him as high as possible. You get him +5, congratulations. If not, +1 is more than enough for him. All right. So now let's talk about the heroes here. Let's talk about Num Num first, because we already had this hero. We already explained it a few times, and I'm just gonna give you a quick update. I still think Num Num is a must-have. However, I noticed that if she does not have her +5, she does not do a lot of damage in that case. So you have to be mindful that your heroes, to make her overperform, that you have to have a team that's able to do these things: frostbite, stun, and prison. Once these things are on, it is disgusting the amount of damage she does in the team. If it's just her, it's going to be only her prison. It's going to actually do some extra damage, which is pretty freaking impressive, in my opinion. So yeah, there's a lot to love with this hero, and especially with the spelling. There's a lot of good things with her. But I noticed once you get her to +5, she does a lot of damage. At +3, you'll be able to use her and combination of other heroes in your team to actually do immortal killing in that case. So that is really freaking awesome. As long as you're able to activate her first and then use another hero to, and then passing the turn. So that's really awesome. And I have been testing her out with Volos, and that combination does work very well, but my Volos dies all the time. So yeah, I have to make a way to actually make my Volos not die all the time. But every single time she goes off, it's freaking amazing. Every single hero she gets with her debuff, they pretty much die. And I do plan to actually get her badges, because her badges are going to actually help with actually getting more damage from her. Because yeah, she is going to take more damage, and this 30% also is just going to be really relevant for her, because everything she turns is going to be her weaker element. So 30% extra damage, that's freaking amazing. I should definitely actually get more badges with this. I'm still trying to get Rosamia to all the 9 badges, so that's a freaking nightmare, that's for sure. So yeah, I still think that she's a must-have, and she has a lot of things that you should love. However, you have to be mindful of that, especially if you have her at +5. You have to be mindful of these things because I've seen combinations with stunts and things like that in her. It's freaking amazing, guys. I really dig this hero, but you have to be mindful of what you're actually doing. Now, Aurelion. Oh, this is killing me. Aurelion has a lot of potential. I'm going to say it right now. He has a lot of freaking potential. What I like about this guy is that he's able to stack over and over and over. Reduces attack, reduces defense, but when he gets that scan, it's pretty much going to be 50% less attack and 50% less defense, and that is stacking over and over and over. And at the same time, he is going to actually gain attack and defense. So I haven't seen this guy in action. We're pretty much at action or on the attack or anything, whatever. But with these abilities, I'm sure that he'll be able to do a lot of things here, especially extra damage and all that good stuff, and more, and actually stealing attack and defense from the enemies. Yeah, for sure. Although I think that from all the awakenings, you're definitely going to want him to be at +1 for sure. In that case, I actually have to analyze these better. After skill, and applies 1 stack of offensive weakness and 1 stack defensive. More stats all over the place. But I think that he's definitely sweet spot is just +1 for sure. And this +5, this is where things get really serious, guys. When skill use 3 stats increases, all allies stands 25% crit damage by 50%, and damage dealt to shield by 50%, stacking up to 3 freaking times. This is stacking 3 freaking times to the entire freaking team. That is mind freaking blowing. That, man. These stats, starting offensive weakness and defensive weakness, reaches 10 stats. Their shield is broken and they're stunned for 3 turns. Oh my god. Each enemy can trigger up to 1 time. It doesn't say if it can trigger 1 time per turn or 1 time to battle, but we're gonna know that very soon. So yeah, there's a lot of things to. This is a lot. So much potential with this, guys. I mean, if you plan to get this hero, yeah, I don't blame you. If you get him to +5, I don't blame you as well. With his debuffs, maybe he'll be able to be good on defense, but I have to see that in action. So I'm gonna see War tomorrow. The guys that we're fighting, I don't think that they're gonna get this hero, but if they do, I'm gonna get more footage on that situation. But so for now, I'm not gonna give recommendations to summon Aurelion or not, because I do want to see him in action. But his awakenings and abilities are very, very, very powerful, and if anyone says otherwise, they don't know the possibilities of this, because these stacks are scary stuff, man. Scary stuff, man, for sure. Now, out of all these heroes that I just mentioned, which one is my #1 option for you to summon? Clearly, my #1 option, it has to be Arthur, guys. Arthur, as I said before, has been battle freaking tested. It does not matter if yellow is not your main color. If you play yellow at all, you have to have Arthur +1. There is no way around it. You need to have Arthur. If you don't have Arthur, you're going to fall behind from other yellow teams. Period. As long as you have this awakening at +1, you will use them like forever. Trust me, I've used this. I had this guy at +1 for ever since he was released, and I have not stopped using him every single time I use yellow. There's no way around it. You have to get Arthur +1. Do not make the mistake of not summoning him now. If you don't have him at +1, do not even think of anything else. Just summon Arthur. You will not regret it. If you want to use him on defense, he has to have his +5. There is no way around that as well. That you need to have this +5, because that +5 is going to change your game so much. On yellow defense game, so much is not even funny. For sure. My #2 option of all these heroes that I mentioned, I'm gonna go with Z this time, because Z Z revolutionizes green so much is not even funny, and he is the only reason why green teams on defense are viable. Without Z, you don't have a green team on defense, honestly. And his abilities to actually create stones, becoming for you to be immune and all that good stuff is amazing. Highly recommend that he creates stones every single turn, which is freaking amazing all the time. So yeah. And as I said, you need his +1, but his +5 is very, very, very powerful. Highly recommended to get. But his +1 is definitely highly recommended in that situation. Now, my third option out of all these heroes is definitely going to be Num Num, for sure. Num Num, we're still discovering the layers of what she's able to actually do, and her abilities are very powerful, but we do need to actually see a team or see a combination of heroes so we can actually see how she can actually do the best results with her, because her ability, especially at +5, depend on a lot of actual status effects that are stunned, imprison, mutation, sleep, and all that good stuff. So we're still experimenting with her, and I still think that she's a must-have hero. And she's definitely my third option, because she is very versatile. Her weapon is freaking amazing. If you have her, you have to get her weapon. Not just for her, it's for every single other strength hero in the entire freaking game that is gonna want this weapon, because this stats 3 times, 60% mana gain without losing life is game changing. So highly recommend to get her weapon, if anything, for sure. Yeah. We're still testing Num Num, but she's freaking amazing. So she's my third option. Now, I could say that's my last option, because I'm not gonna speak about not gonna add the new hero, because he's just released like yesterday. So obviously the fourth option is going to be Renosuke. Renosuke has a lot of cool abilities, but he's definitely not as impactful as the other heroes, especially now, as I said, that we have Aurelia. So Renosuke, he's a cool hero. You can bring him in your team at +1, and he'll be able to dispel with his passive and even do a bunch of damage. So if you plan to get him on high level, I recommend it. I've seen this guy on attack. I've seen this guy on defense. He's freaking amazing. If he's not killed on defense, he's going to do a lot of damage. It's not even funny. However, the past heroes on this selection are higher priority than Renosuke. Do not summon Renosuke and ignore Arthur. Please. Arthur is 100% more priority than Renosuke, guys. For sure. For sure. Alright, guys. That was new. That was different. And I didn't talk about the 4 stars, because I really don't have the 4 stars for... Oh my god, this is killing me. The 4 stars are for the other selections. I could check here. It just says Arthur. It doesn't say the 4 stars. So I can't comment out the 4 stars. You'll have to choose on your own. Pretty much we don't have any new 4 stars anyway. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, please leave them in the comments and we'll talk about it. Alright, thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.